ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां व्यासशंकरमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। So, namaste and welcome you all to level 2 of this journey into Vedanta. So there are basically 5 levels or 5 to 7 years of study, which is spread across different texts. Prasthanatrayam. So the introduction to Vedanta, which we saw before, covered us the basic aspects of what Vedanta is. So it's like a canvas which is laid first to see what are the items or what are the different things we need to look at first. This particular course we're starting now, it is maybe a bit lengthy course. It will take a bit longer than the first one because we will be covering a few topics along the way. So there will be some introduction to some other texts, which are some are short, some are a bit long. So I thought, normally I don't take Bhajagovindam first. I teach them a bit later. But I thought we will start with Bhajagovindam because, number one, this particular treatise by Adi Shankara is also a Prakarana Grantaha. So Prakaranam, when you say, it means a treatise or an extract from the Upanishad or a short summary explaining a particular topic or conveying a message. So we have so many Prakarana Grantaha. So Bhajagovindam is one of them. We have Atmabodha, Tattvabodha, Dirvishiveka, Hastavanaka Geetam. So there are then Vedanta Sara is one. So there are many. Jivan Mukti, Naishkarmya Siddhi, Upadesha Sahasri. So there are many texts which are there. Each of them, they cover some aspects of what is covered in the entire Upanishad. Not every chapter covers everything. So this Bhajagovindam will cover some aspects, and Atmabodha will cover some aspects. So we have to learn all of them because each particular Prakaranam addresses a specific aspect or need of a person or a message is conveyed. So Bhajagovindam also is one of the famous texts written by Adi Shankara. In fact, this text doesn't have a commentary. He just, rendered this composition impromptu. So why this particular thing came into existence, we need to know. So Adi Shankara, as usual, like he has his devotees, the disciples. He's going along place to place, and he's finally arriving at Kashi, the banks of Kashi. He's staying in a particular place, and then the next door where he's living, he hears very loud noise, loud chanting. So he gets a bit curious, and he goes to visit this person who is sitting next door. He goes and sees a very old man, and he's 85 years old. He is busy learning grammar, Vyakaranam. He's learning sandhis, he's learning, anuswaras, visargas, how to, pronounce certain things, writing the meanings of the grammar, going through the Panini Sutra. And he was not able, he was also doing, upside down, standing upside down. Some topics he could understand. He was punishing himself by standing upside down. So Adi Shankara came and asked this person, what are you doing? He says, I'm learning Sanskrit. Then he starts to rattle in front of Adi Shankara all these grammar things. Of course, there are mistakes in his grammar, etc. It's a different thing. Then Adi Shankara looks at this old man, this 85 years old of age, and he feels pity for this person. He doesn't say anything to the person. Then that particular gesture from Adi Shankara prompted him to sing the first verse. So the first verse is sung by Adi Shankara. And because the first verse motivates all his disciples who are sitting behind him or the devotees who are following him, the subsequent 12 verses are sung by the devotees. Each of them compose one at a time. So it's called Dwadashaha, or there are 12. Then another set of verses are compiled. See, totally there are 31 verses in this text. 31 verses. So the last 5, Adi Shankara summarizes or puts a summary commentary after everything is being discussed. So Bhaja Govindam has got a high place in Vedanta, because it is not a stotram, it is a teaching. Contrary to what people say about Bhaja Govindam, it is chanted, it is sung, it is a musical rendition. Because we all know Bhaja Govindam sung by M.S. Subbulakshmi beautifully. We all know Vishnu Sahasranam also sung by M.S. Subbulakshmi, and other people are also there. But here the objective is not to see how beautiful the ragam is or how beautiful the swara is. The message is important. So it is not a stotram, it is a teaching. And what does the teaching do? The teaching converts a non-religious person to a religious person. The teaching converts a non-religious person to a religious person. It will convert also a religious person into a spiritual person. Hope you know all these topics. So religious person, spiritual person. It will also convert a non-ethical person to an ethical person. So Bhaja Govindam has got 3 aspects. So it's actually for everybody. It is only one of the texts where there is no mention of adhikari. Adhikari is a person who is qualified to study the Shastra or an eligible student. Whereas here, there is no commentary, there is no opening text to say that only some people can chant, some people cannot know all these things. So it is not said in this text. So the word bhaja itself means to pray. The word bhaja comes from the root bhaj, as the same as bhakti. And who do we pray for? We pray for Govinda. So here the the prayer is for Govinda. So there are three aspects you should look at. Number one, Govinda denotes a name, one of the names of Vishnu. One of the names of Vishnu. Govinda also denotes a jiva, person. And Go also denotes cow. Go also denotes birds. So the word Go itself has got several connotations, several meanings. So the first one we look at is Go means knowledge, and Vindaha means may you attain. So Go means knowledge and Vindaha means may you attain. So why do you attain knowledge? You attain knowledge, you seek knowledge to know your own true nature and to be free from the samsara. So Govindaha or Govinda itself means the seeker of knowledge and the knower of the ultimate Para-Brahman, the Brahman itself. So Gopaha Veti iti Govindaha. Gopaha Veti iti Govindaha. Veti means know. And one has to know what is Gopaha, to be attained. And by knowing who is to attain, that particular knowledge is called Govinda. So Veti, the word Veti is coming from the word vid, to know. Veti means the one who knows or to know. And if you see in the second definition for Govinda, Go also denotes Jiva, or the individual who is there. And Vindaha is also a destination or a place one has to attain. So the Jiva ultimately has to know the Paramatma. Once the Jiva knows the Paramatma, then there is no more thing called Jiva. That's why it's called Govindaha. So there's always two letters, Go hyphen Vindaha. Govindaha. Third also denotes, Go is also called words. So all the words which are expressive as an object of knowledge is Govinda. So anything which you see here, including our own self, all the objects which you see, the entire universe is Govinda. So the entire Prapanjam is Govinda. So you have a vision of yourself plus the entire universe, cosmic view of everything is called Govinda. And if you see Govinda, this one, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. So 3 times it is said. So always Bhaja Govindam is said 3 times, repetition is 3 times. Why 3? Because 3 signifies an important aspect in Vedanta. 3 denotes 3 kalaha, 3 different times. Morning, afternoon and night time, evening and night time. So Trikalaha, you have to be knowing the Bhagavan. So that's why 3 times is chanted. Means wherever you see the time, you have to see the Bhagavan there. Also, the 3 stands for the 3 gunas. Sattva guna, Rajo guna, Tamo guna. So one has to rise above the 3 gunas. 3 denotes avastha trayaha. That is 3 different states of experience: the waking state, dream state, and deep sleep state. So the number 3 denotes that one has to transcend all these 3. 3 also has got prasthana trayam. So trayam means 3. So you got Bhagavad Gita, you got Upanishad and Dharma Sutras. So this Bhagavan or this Govindaha has to be known through all these texts. So the 3 symbolizes a very important aspect, and 3 also indicates here Bhajagovindam, Bhajagovindam, Bhajagovindam. It means the 3 is for repetition, for Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam. So the number 3 has got so many connotations. I've given you already 4 or 5. That's why 3 occupies a very, very important number. Trimurti also is there. Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwaraha. We have also Devatas also. We got 3 Devatas. So the 3, all the numbers 3, it signifies the importance, and that's why Bhajagovindam is enforced. Unlike other texts which you see, like Bhagavad Gita, or if you see other texts, it will be very slow, it will be very, very political, it will not antagonize you, or it will not criticize you. It will say, okay, you want to do, okay. These are the values you should acquire. If you don't want to acquire the values, it's also okay. But Bhajagovindam is not like this. Bhajagovindam is like a needle. It is like a needle which is straight away poked into the body, and the medicine has to go right inside. It is like a syringe, when you have a sugar problem, right? Tablets can help you. Slowly you can take tablets, you can take number of tablets you can take. But sometimes the sugar goes up, what do? You have to only rely on insulin. That is direct injection, correct? So when you directly inject into the body, what does it do? It gives you immediate relief, correct? Sugar levels comes down and you are able to concentrate. Same way, Bhajagovindam also is a direct injection of telling that, hey Mudaha, Muda Mathe. So all deluded people, you are all deluded people. That's what it says here. So he doesn't say, so when this old man is chanting all these things, grammar, etc., and he's trying to master the grammar at that age, Adi Shankara feels pity for the person, saying, you're on the wrong side of number 1 of the age. Anytime you are going to come near death, and you're not, if you're going to spend time learning grammar and reading everything, because it's not easy. You have to write notes, you have to practice it, you have to do Mananam, then you have to understand the Vedas, then Shastra must be understood, then that has to study for a long, lengthy period of time. How much time he's got? He's already 85. Another maybe 5 years, 6 years. So by the time he's 90 years of age, he passed away, he has not done anything, his life will be waste. So what he's saying is, they said here is, you must understand what is important to you. The studying of the grammar or studying the grammar is an example. It says that you are wasting the time on all the materialistic pursuits. So pursuing money, pursuing property, pursuing women, pursuing, fame, all those things which are there, they are being referred here by the word Krinkarane. That's the word here. We'll go to the text. I'm just giving you some context before I go into that. So when everything is coming to nearing, when there is no protection for you. So absolutely there is no protection, because when death is nearing you, you cannot do anything. No grammar can save you, no money can save you, neither your husband can save you, neither your wife can save you. Nobody really in the world can save you excepting jnana. Except the only thing you can take forward with you is your knowledge. Nobody can take the knowledge away from you, even though you may be physically incapacitated. That's why knowledge is given high importance in Vedanta. Same also you will say in the Bhagavad Gita in chapter 2, verse number 27. So chapter 2, verse number 27, you will see the Lord Krishna says, Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuhu dhruvam mritasya janmacha tasmat pariharyete ashattam shoshitum arhasi. So jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuhu, means that which is born is going to die. So dhruva means, dhruvaha means indeed, and mrityuhu means die. That which is, anything which is born is going to die, because it is got a finite, it's in time. And dhruvam mritasya janmacha, so that which is dead is already dying, is going to be reborn again. So that which is born is going to die, that which is dying has to be reborn. So tasmat, therefore, so there is no pariharyete, so there is no pariharam, there is no cure for this. So do not grieve. Natam shoshitum arhasi. So do not grieve for the people who are going to die or the people who are going to come, because it is, you cannot alter this anything, but you can only master it. You can only master the understanding, provided you know what is death and what is birth and what is in between called samsara. So that is why this Bhajagovindam is a very important part in the whole teaching. So let's look at the first verse. Bhajagovindam, Bhajagovindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudamate. Samprapte sannihite kale nahi nahi rakshati dukkan karane nahi nahi rakshati dukkan karane. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudamate. Samprapte sannihite kale nahi nahi rakshati dukkan karane nahi nahi rakshati dukkan karane. So Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja. As I told you, there are 3 times chanted, correct? So he makes the emphasis that you emphasis given, Bhaja Govindam, do this, seek knowledge, go for seeking knowledge. So may you pray, may you worship, and may you know your Swarupam as the truth of one's own self. That is the meaning of the word Bhaja Govindam. And who does he address? All the Muda Mataha. See, Mataha means opinion. And Matam also means the people who are got wrong thinking in their head. Or Mudaha also means fools. So, hey fools, he says. So why do you say called fool? Because there can be something called intelligent fool and ignorant fool. See, fool also can be classified. See, somebody who is a fool is ignorantly fool also, because he doesn't know. So he is an ignorant fool. But there is somebody who is also very intelligent and is still a fool, because he thinks that he is a very great person. Like a thief, he thinks he may be a very rich person, very nice person, but he always leaves a trail because he can't cover everything what he can do. So he's all intelligent, full, so he addresses everybody. Muda mataha. So Muda mataha means what? Mudan, when you say it, is not criticism. Mudan means a deluded person. So Mudaha means deluded. You are not deluded in terms of artha, kama and dharma, but you are definitely deluded in terms of moksha. So here it addresses the person who's got no purushartha nishchaya, person who's not clear about what is the end goal, and a person who is pursuing all the materialistic aspects day in and day out without giving importance to the time which is coming nearby, how much time he has got left to accomplish in this world. So Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja, Muda Mathe. Then Samprapte. So Praptihi means attaining. So Samprapte means when you attain old age. So when you attain old age, or when you become an old person, or when you're destined to go from this world, death is approaching you. Sannihite kale. See, sannihitaha means it is very, very close to you. In fact, you cannot even comprehend how close it is. See, number one, age has got nothing to do with this. Even young people also die. People like 35 years, like there's a Bollywood actor, somebody, he died. This is Prarabdha karma, like, which made him to do that. So his life is already ordained, and one is following the course of action, one is following. There are, circumstances, there are situations which a person can make use of it or can fall prey to that. So here what he's saying is, especially it doesn't matter how old you are, because you never know what will be there tomorrow. A young person may die, old person may live long, for long he may live. He'll be waiting for death, death will not come to him. I'm sure we have all seen that there are old people who really want to go because they are so old, they cannot do anything, and their eyes are crying, their tears are coming, but their prana won't go because the prarabdha karma is still very strong. So he says that samprapte sannihite kale. So when the kalaha comes, okay. So again, here kalaha means time, a time factor. And time always is the devourer of everything. You always say, no, we don't have time. So when you ask to study Vedanta, what do you say? Too many commitments are there. I cannot study because there is no time. Family commitments are there. Social commitments are there. So you just don't, work commitments are there. Personal commitments are there. So many commitments you've got, social things are there. Then Vedanta commitment also is there. See, so many things, then you have to squeeze it. Out of 24 hours, you have about 8 to 9 hours sleep. You go to work for 8 hours a day because you have to earn for a living, so you go there. So 17 hours is gone as such. You've got 7 hours left in a day. Out of 7 hours in a day, you need 1 to 2 or 2 hours for your routine things, like going to toilet, eating food or whatever. You got 19 hours gone. Remaining 5 hours you got. Out of the 5 hours, what will you do? You got your own time to spend with the family, maybe a couple of 2-3 hours in a day. Talk to them, talk to children, etc. That leaves you with 2 hours in a day. This is not going to change for lifetime. Is it correct? This is not going to change, it only can increase. The more you become popular, the more you become socially connected, the more you become well known, this time will only reduce, and finally you will have no time at all. You'll have probably half an hour, 1 hour, and the 1 hour la mood varadu difficult. And 1 hour also difficult. See, that is why you'll see less number of students studying Vedanta. And they are also not regular because time is so much of pressure on the person, like it will just tear them apart. They are trying very hard. I'm not saying that they are not trying at all. They are trying, but time is trying much harder than what they are trying. So time is actually pushing them, and say like, and the person who masters time is the one who can come successful. A person who actually always is behind time, he or she will not be able to catch up. Is it correct? That is why we always say what? You manage the time or time will manage you. So you'll have to manage the time. Always there should be a way by which you should manage time. Everybody has got difficulties. It's not a single person. Even a jnani also, you may think that he or she is a person sitting there and just sitting there. Even sitting there also, what will the person do? He or she has to do some work to earn a living, to support herself or himself. They have to go and teach subjects because they got to earn something. Nobody can just sit at home, nothing will happen to you. So always there are activities to be done. So one has to prioritize. So that's why it says here was sannihite kale. That sannihite kale indicates what? That time is not definite in your favor, mate. Time is not there, so you really have to manage the time. You look at how much time you have got left. No, some people say I'm only 45 years old now. I can give another 10 years more. Now 60 kapara aramikalam appadina. Some people say, they tell me also. Some people also come and tell me, see, Shankar, this Janma is already gone, Shankar. It's all waste now. Already I am over. Inme padichilla, inme nallala mudiyadhu. Inme padikkalam, what's the point of studying? After Janma, I will study. They are now already reconciled to the fact that next Janma, they are going to come and study Bhagavad Gita. They are going to come and study all Prasthanatrayam, or they already taken assumption that they will get a physical body. You yourself do not know next Janma. First of all, whatever you have in this Janma, you use it. This Janma, you're already writing it off, saying that I'll just going to lead life like this. And I've reconciled to the fact that I'm going to die one day. And if I die one day, I'll have a clean slate. I'll rub everything out, like a whiteboard at the back. And then I write a new topic, saying that I'm starting from this. It doesn't happen like this. That's why it says here, Samprapte sannihite kale. I want to say here, nahi rakshati. Means rakshaha means protection. Nothing can protect you. Nothing can protect you from what? Dukrin karane. See, Dukrin karane is actually from the Pani Sutra, Panini grammar. So Dukrin karane means what? Kritam means doer. So it's referred to an action. So a person who is involved in activity. So this Bhajagovindam was sung by Adi Shankara for a person who was doing an activity called chanting or standing up on one leg and doing Sanskrit, hitting like this. Sometimes we say, you keep on by hearting, and by hearting you don't, then you feel frustrated. So what do? You throw the pencil out, throw the book out, you go out somewhere, again come back, it doesn't register again. So these are all possible. So this person also referred here Dukran Karane. Means even though he is referring to the person studying grammar here, but in reality we should take the person who is pursuing Artha, Kama and Dharma. So it is any amount of pursuit you follow for Artha, for Kama and Dharma, is not going to give you any protection at all. It doesn't mean that you must not do those. So immediately you must have come to the conclusion, oh, Bhajagovindam says, or Sir says that this is all not useless, so I will leave everything. If you leave everything, what will you do? You must know what to do. See, it is like, somebody says, I want to retire. And he keeps talking about retirement, and one day he retires. After retiring, next day, he asks, what should I do? Because he has not thought about retirement. Now he is very boring. See, the wife says, why did you retire? Because she is busy because she has got her own work to do. And this person sitting at home is watching there, saying, I have retired now, so bring me coffee. What are you doing? Can you go to a movie here? Can you do this? All these things, because he is getting bored. He has got nothing to do. So either you should have retired into something before, so that you have an activity to follow. Some people have different activities. Some people like to play guitar. Some people like to repair computers. Some people like to install software. Some people like to go on cruise. So it depends on a lot of interest people have got. Adella, they always have something they want to pursue. But you will not be able to do that forever. So that's why it says here, Dukrin Karane means any amount of activities you do, it is not going to free you from death or the fear of death. Right? That's why he says here, Nahi nahi rakshati dukrin karane. So Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudamate. Samprapte means prapti means adaidal. What adaidal? Death. Mrityu. So Maranam adaidal means the day you come close to death, and that's some nihite kale, that is not very far. So if you're going to, definitely you're going to die one day, you already know about it. And what he's saying is that day is not very far. You think it is 20 years now from now. No. You do not have any time, friend. Just don't wait for death to come to you. You, whatever time you have, you just devote and then get over it. Manage the time. Right? That's why he says, Nahi nahi rakshati. So it will not give you any protection. Any amount of pursuits about artha, kama, dharma, or spiritual or other things will not give you any protection. So you understand the limitations of these things, grow out of them slowly, and then pursue the path of moksha. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudamte. Samprapte sannihite kale, nahi nahi rakshati dukrin karane, nahi nahi rakshati dukrin karane. This is the first verse, meaning on that. In the same connection, there is also a reference in Subramanya Bhujangam. Subramanya Bhujangam, there is a famous verse. I'll just read out to you. Prashantendriye nashta sanye videshtai kapogari vaktre bayokampikatre prayanon mukam mayyanate tadhanim tritam me dayalo bhavaye gurutvam. I'll send you the text later on, meaning on this. In verse number 20, in Subramanya Bhujangam, it talks about Prashanta Indriyaha, Prashante Indriyaha. That means, when my Indriyaha means about my body. So Prashante Indriyaha. So when my body gets very old and all my sense powers are losing. Nashtaha. Nashta samhai means when I grow old, all memory will be gone. Nashtaha means, Nashta means vinashaha. So when I grow old, this is a prayer for Lord Muruga. An old man, a prayer is, person is praying on his deathbed, and he is praying to Lord Muruga. He's saying that I'm very old now, and I'm losing all my sensory powers slowly. Then vicheshte, cheshtaha means activity, and vicheshtaha means what? I'm completely devoid of any activity. See, I'm not able to do any more activity. You cannot do anything. See, there are times when you have to walk with the stick. You cannot, somebody's coming, you just look like this. You can't see TV also. You got Alzheimer's disease, dementia. So many things are there. Parkinson's disease. All of them are there, which will make you not do anything. So whatever you are doing before, you are not able to do anything now. We are all hoping that we will be all healthy, but we do not know. Always a hope that we'll be healthy. But supposing if you're not healthy and if you come to the scenario, what he says here, Naste Samagne, when I become old, the memory will be gone and I am not conscious of it anymore. I do not know what I am at all. So if I am very forgetful about myself, then Kapodgari Vaktre means Kapaha means what? Phlegm. So when you are very old, he's talking about an old person who is coughing because the phlegm is coming out. He cannot come out, he cannot swallow it, he is in such a position. And because of that, I cannot speak Vaktraha. So Kapodgari Vaktre, Bayaha Uktam Hi Ghatre. I am trembling with fear. So I am trembling with fear because the phlegm is coming out, and because the phlegm is coming out, I cannot speak. My words are not coming out very clearly. I am losing memory. I cannot see things clearly. I am old. I cannot walk. I cannot do activities anymore. Look at this. All these are activities which is there. We are all going to hit that one day. I can guarantee you. We are all fortunate. We are still talking like this, but it is the reality. Whatever is there, it is going to grow one day old. Then Prayana Unmukhe. So Unmukhe, I'm waiting my last breath. Prayanaha Unmukhe means I'm waiting my last prayana. So he's a person who is on the deathbed, not the deathbed, he is actually a very feeble old person. See the comparison made here, Subramanian Bhujangam, he is the 85-year-old man Bhajagovinda, who is doing all these activities without knowing that he has got only a few years left. So he says, Govindam Bhaja Mudamate, Dukran Karane, Nahi Nahi Rakshat. All this activity you are doing not going to protect you. So there he is telling the person. This person in Bhujangam, he's already wasted his time. He's already wasted his entire lifestyle in all these activities. He's a very famous person. Now he's lying on his cot, whatever cot he has got, a sofa or chair. That is thing. He's just recollecting what he has done the entire life. He doesn't really remember any good thing he's done. He just, yes, I've done all these things. But now there's nobody around me. Because everybody is busy. See, who wants to be an old man all the time? You would not like to spend a lot of time with an old man all the time, right? An old woman. You are there only to take care of the person. Oh, coffee, coffee. You want juice? You want medicine? You want help in going to the toilet? The person will take you there and take you back. So it's always activity oriented only for a specific person. Otherwise, other people are busy doing their activities. Then, Mai Anataha. Mai Anate Tadani. So, he is an orphan even though there are people around him. There are people around everybody, a person, but still he feels an orphan. Why? Because he cannot relate to anybody anymore now. He has come to such a stage now where he cannot see things clearly. He cannot hear things clearly. He cannot walk. When he speaks, phlegm comes out, so he cannot talk. Tears come from his eyes. and he's waiting for someone to tell him what's the time. He's waiting for the time to come. He's trembling with fear that if it comes today, what will happen? How will I handle it? He's trembling with fear there. Then he's looking around, the people around him who are all talking. And he's looking around, he's not able to relate to anybody because those people are talking about something else. He could hear what they're talking, but he's not able to say anything because he's not in a position to say anything. What are we talking about it? See, this old man has got one property in Lonavala. In Khandala, he's got a property there. He's got one in Ooty, he's got property there. He's got some shares there. And he's got gold, everything is there, bond is there. So they're all discussing around him. He's in the bed there or sitting there, and he's listening to everyone talking around him, and they all want him to go. They all want him to go because he says, at least I can take all the, whatever will is there, I can take and we can distribute and we can disappear. They don't want him to go, but they also want him to go. See this. They want him to go because they'll be better off. At the same time, compassion for the old man is there, but they cannot do anything about it. That's why he says here what? Mai anataha. Right? So Mai anataha tadhanim. All the time I am anataha right now. Then what he says here? Dhrutam me dayalu. So he says, please, dhrutam means come very quickly. And dayalu means what? A kind person. Dhrutam me dayalo bhavaye guhatvam. Guha. So bhavaha means what? Save me from this transmigration. Save me from this death of coming again. And guha tvam. So ho guha means ho Lord Muruga. You come quickly and take me away from all these problems so that I do not have to be facing any of this. So this is a prayer. This is a prayer of a feeble person or a person who has come long cycle. All the achievements he has done has got zero because he cannot take anything from it. What can he take? He cannot take any property. He cannot take wife. He cannot take children. He cannot take ornaments. He cannot even take his physical body. The most dear physical body also he cannot take it. So what is there? Take. That's why this Bhajagovindam is a very hard-hitting lesson. Especially it tells that you just don't have enough time. Samprapte sannihite kale nahi nahi rakshati dukkrim karane. So karanam means all this dukkritaha. All the activities you do right now is not going to help you in any manner. Is it clear, the first one? First mantra? I'll send you this Subramanya Bhujangam. I think let me just see if I have it here. So that you can write your notes there. Just put it here for this is to my text, this is for my notes, okay? Alright, I did the notes 2012, so it's about 8 years old. So you see here, look at that, Prashante Indriyaha Nashta Sannehi Cheshte Kapodgara Uktre Bhayokta Kampi Gatre Prayana Unmuke Mai Anate Tadani Dhrutam Dayalo Bhavagne Guhatvam. So you can copy this in your notes. If you're making notes, you can copy that. But this is actually from Suruna Bhujangam, verse number 20 there. Okay. The same thing also is you see in the Bhagavad Gita also you will see. Just as the old body, the old, when you have old clothes, what do? We just discard them, correct? We do not keep the old clothes with us. We either give it away and we get changed into new clothes. Same way, the physical body also goes from here, takes another physical body, depending upon what karma you got. So the cycle of samsara will continue forever. The only way of freeing you from samsara is Govinda. That's why Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudamate. So very, very terse verse. Opening verse itself is very terse because he calls everybody Mudha. He doesn't, what he says here, all the people who are all doing all the activities, you're all doing activities, I agree, it's all fine, but do not just be doing only activities. Also spend time on pursuit of knowledge. If you postpone, if you say, I want to continue this for a few more years, I want to give 10 more years of my life for all the pursuits, I want to accumulate all the wealth, then I will come and study. At that time, you will not be even ready also. See, if you are 65 years of age or 55 years of age, at that time your mind will not be there because you will not have the same physical ability to sit for some time. You will also not have the physical, mental ability for focus for long. Tiredness will come. Eyesight will deteriorate. So all these things are there. So he says when you are young, when you got the capacity, when age is on right side for you, you start. Do not wait for anything. So in Bhaja Govindam also you see the word called Sanataha, Nataha and Anataha. So Nathan, Sanatan, Anatan. Who is Nathan? Nataha means for the person who is this Lord. Okay. So Nathan means the Lord. And Sanatan, Sanataha, when you say, that means that which has been existing for many, many years. Sanatanaha. So right from childhood, you have been worshipping, praying continuously. That is called Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma is that which you have been following for many, many years. It is not something you just picked up just now. When you are young, your mother or father would have introduced you to some slokams, small slokams, and you've been continuing that for so many years. So this is called Sanatanaha. So you always have a worship, you always have a praying mentality, Sanatanaha. So for such a person, there's nothing to worry because there's always some refuge in something or the other. So for the Nataha means for the person who already understood who is Bhagavan, for his Nathan. Then there are people who are in between, who do not have anybody, orphan. So what Bhaja Govindam says here is in reality there is nobody called Anataha here. There is nobody called an orphan because everybody is Bhagavan's gift. All of them, all the children, anybody who is there here in this universe, including everything is Bhagavan's gift only. So in reality, for the person who doesn't have any scriptures, knowledge, he doesn't have anything, you surrender yourself to the God. Surrender to the God saying that you protect me. So the Bhaja Govindam has got a very strong bhakti aspect to it. In fact, the reason why Bhaja Govindam is taught because bhakti is very, very important. Without bhakti, without worship, without prayer, one can never achieve anything in life. Advaitam teaches the the non-dual nature of yourself. But just becoming non-dual, it doesn't mean that you drop everything else and ignore everybody else. In non-dualism, in fact, Advaitam, the bhakti becomes stronger. The bhakti becomes more and more, entrenched and deep. So Sanataha, Nata, Anataha. 3 concepts are there. Any questions from today's class so far? Have you got anything? Bhavanaji, you're okay? Have you got any questions?
No, I'm okay. Thank you.
I know you're a good singer. You can have your own tune. I'm a very poor singer. I don't even know singing. So I just.
We all know MS singing only. So we all know only that tune.
Correct. Radhaji, any questions so far? Are you okay?
Is Moha Mudgaraha we have, no? Is that same one, Bhajagovindam?
Correct. It's called Moha Mudgaraha means. Moha means the pursuit of lust and greed and everything else.
Yes.
Desire, and Mudgaraha means hammer.
Hammer.
So you have to use a hammer, a very strong hammer, just take and then bang it.
Okay.
So it's called Moha Mudgaraha. Just like in Bhagavad Gita, we have what? Asanga Shastrena Jidanichitva. Correct?
Okay.
So just like, when how Asanga Shastraha. Shastraha means what? Weapon. So using the weapon of Asanga by not being, associated by detachment, only you can remove samsara. You cannot do otherwise. So you can take a physical acts and do everything what you want. But for getting free from samsara, one has to free from asangaha. The same thing is talked about here as moha. So moha means what is attachment. So
yes.
To be free from attachment, one has to take a hammer. Here he talks about Mudgaraha means hammer. So it's also called Moha Mudgaraha.
Hammer.
Okay. Shikanji, any questions you got?
Thank you, Ji.
No, sir, I'm good.
Shriram, you're okay so far? Okay.
I'm good. Thanks.
So next week we'll look at verse number 2 and then we'll just go along what else he says in that. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tatsat Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Namaste. Shubhat.
Thank you, sir.